If we see a video of someone saying something we dislike, we stop or skip it. We're not going to harm someone just for disagreeing with them.
Hello everyone, today we're gathered to remember Charlie Kirk by the Seine with a beautiful view of the Eiffel Tower. Look at the Alexandre III Bridge. That splendor there that crosses over the Seine. And the golden youth there, partying on a boat. Well, we're not here to party, we're here to do a report. Let's go, I'm Charlie. Yeah, this slogan can be used appropriately here. We'll try to go see the organizers right away before they start speaking. Hello? How are you?
Very excited.
Are you the organizer of this event?
I'm a co-organizer and we're organizing this under our names. It's a ceremony of tribute and remembrance, but also aims to mobilize public opinion against political violence in the United States and France. And this violence, it's the same violence fueled by far-left factions, by deadly ideologies, and it targets whistleblowers and activists. Journalists, including you, are targeted simply for thinking differently. If you disagree with them, you're labeled a Nazi, dehumanized, and targeted. We saw this with Charlie Kirk yesterday. What will happen today in France? It's time to end this climate of violence and intimidation, whether professional, social, economic, judicial, or especially physical, which thrives and creates a truly harmful climate in our democracies in Europe.
Hello, tell me what you're doing here.
Hello, I am the spokesperson for the Trump Committee France.
What's your take on what happened with Charlie Kirk?
This was a political assassination driven by left-wing propaganda that resulted in Charlie Kirk's death. In fact, what's happening is that the left has done everything to silence right-wing voices that carried a message different from the general dogma. When they can't silence them intellectually, since Charlie Kirk dismantled the opposing arguments, they resort to physical means, and that's what it leads to. And it's a danger for France because we have the same kind of thing spreading in France.
Was Robinson, the murderer, indoctrinated at university?
Not just at university, but everywhere due to the propaganda he was surrounded by.
Donald Trump survived 3 assassination attempts in the year before his election. We clearly saw that it was exactly the same thing. They labeled Donald Trump a Nazi, so people want to eliminate him. If Trump is like Hitler, I see why someone would want that. If someone killed Adolf Hitler in 1938, people would have called them a hero. Labeling people as Nazis often leads to physical violence.
Anaïs?
Hello, Vincent.
What are you doing here?
I think it was my duty to come today as an activist. It's true that we are often exposed, most of the time, to violence, as I experienced last week. It's true, it's less than what happened to Charlie, but I had to be here. Several activists from the collective are here. Matilda will speak after this, and it really affected us. Because actually we are fighting for this too, we are fighting for freedom of expression. We are also victims of this, of censorship on social media. I'm not sure if you heard, but several recruitment accounts and my personal account were taken down. It's censorship on social media, and they're also trying to enforce it on the streets. And so we had to, well, it's not that we had to, but it's normal for us to be here.
We saw those completely crazy images where you were getting your hair pulled at a left-wing protest. How did it go? And honestly, are you feeling better now?
So I'm doing much better. I'm getting medical care. And technically I'm supposed to wear a neck brace, but it's too hot, so I'm not wearing it. And mostly I'm doing a little bit of exercise. I had a really bad stiff neck. I'm taking anti-inflammatories. Well, nothing serious in itself. Actually, I can't really grasp the seriousness of what just happened compared to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. For me, it's nothing. And anyway, it was violent in the moment. The worst part was seeing the images replayed repeatedly afterward, followed by the mobilization that occurred. Well, the messages I received, messages of support from my loved ones, from people I didn't even know. I think that's what affected me the most in the end. It made me even stronger and more motivated. Strange, isn't it? I'm even more determined to speak out against violence toward women, and they won't intimidate me.
Oh, look at this sign. Being right-wing kills. Well, so, being right-wing kills?
That's why he died. For defending right-wing, liberal and conservative ideas. And I'm going to tell you something. My generation would have never thought that we would have to stand up to defend such basic things in life. Claiming the French flag is patriotic and that there are only 2 sexes and 2 genders. Saying that taking a plane is not far right, saying that going on a trip is not far right. All these basic things in life, I'm telling you, I had planned to have a peaceful life. I never would have thought that my generation would have to stand up and say that these basic things in life are neither right-wing nor left-wing. These are just common sense ideas, and it concerns everyone. And this person, Charlie Kirk, died for saying things like this publicly and fighting for his ideas. And so we come to pay tribute to him. There aren't many people who have touched me so much and made me want to fight, especially for my generation. What my generation is experiencing is unreal. The least we can do is pay tribute to him.
Hello, Edward.
Hello.
Are you representing the COCARD or not?
Yes, I'll be speaking at the rally in a little while.
Why was it important for you to come?
Defending freedom of expression in universities is extremely important to us. Charlie's situation shows this is also happening elsewhere, like in France. 2 students were stabbed and someone pulled a gun on us during leaflet distribution. We face similar violence in the United States. In fact, everywhere in universities across the Western world, there are people who are absolutely intolerant of conservative ideas and who try to silence them in violent ways. And Charlie Kirk is, in a way, a martyr for our cause, so that's why we're here, to pay tribute to him.
Antifa claims you're violent, want a violent society, are racist, seek to exclude people, and are the bad guys. And for that reason, you deserve a few slaps or even more?
Yes, it's always the same usual rhetoric, but the best example is that every time we go canvassing, there isn't an assault every time we go canvassing. On the other hand, every time the far left shows up while we're canvassing, then there's violence. And it's always like that. It's always the same rhetoric. They label you violent, racist, or Nazis to justify attacking you like they did to Charlie Kirk. They accused him of being anti-Semitic, anti-Zionist, and of hating black people, despite him creating a branch for African Americans within Turning Point. It's like saying his dog has rabies so they can put it down. It's the same rhetoric, subtly inciting violence by calling people fascists or Nazis so others target them.
I'll tell you, I'm a comedian and all my close friends told me to avoid putting myself forward and everything. I said, but...
I'll still blur you out.
No, that's fine with me.
No, for you, I'm doing it for you.
Are you sure?
Are you crazy? If they see you here...
Yeah.
But you're dead in the theater. Yes, dead.
But you see, what I was thinking was that, my dad, for example, he's a police officer. He always told me, keep things to yourself as long as things don't change. As long as ideas don't change in France, keep them to yourself. And one day you'll be able to say them. I think that if we wait too long, I don't want to beat myself up and tell myself that what I thought was true is something I should hide. There are things that are sincere, ideas that Charlie used to say, for example, that were Christian values that spoke to me, for example. Well, I think that France has those values, and not saying them or beating ourselves up saying, no, wait, we don't have the right, that's something bad. No, not at all. We are a country of Christian origin, we have values, and beating ourselves up over things like the death penalty, the Christian heritage of France, exactly, I think it's quite...
So, do you want me to unblur you here?
Sure, if you're asking me something and want to talk, you can unblur me.
Now, the interview has started.
Yes, okay, got it.
All this time, you don't know my method? The core of their argument is that he wasn't violent himself, but that his words and the message he conveyed were messages of violence.
I'll stop you right there. Violence is dealt with bullets. Charlie Kirk was the victim of unacceptable violence by a bullet that struck him down in the prime of his life. According to American law, words aren't violent. That's what we're defending today, the First Amendment. There is a real desire to say that you can't restrict speech just because you don't agree with it.
Because it would be considered violence.
No, but there are rules. You can't slander or incite violence. That's not happening here. Looking more closely at what Charlie Kirk said, you'll find that he was someone who had even more reason. He always gave the microphone first to those he disagreed with, never with any violence. His constant smile, energy, and charisma are why he was successful. He wasn't killed because he was violent. He was killed because he was too good at arguing and they had no way to respond. The only way to counter his arguments was to kill him. Will we tolerate this again in France and Europe?
Look, there's Quotidian. They filmed us, they put the boom mic above us without telling us.
Hello.
You claim the Cocard isn't fascist, Nazi, or racist?
No, we're not fascist or Nazi. Those labels don't mean anything today. The people who give us those labels aren't even able to define them. They've never even opened a history book. For the most part, they don't know what they're talking about. And actually, they use those labels because they can't come up with anything else.
Actually, in my opinion, what they really mean, the heart of the matter, is immigration. So, opposing the current immigration policy makes them far right?
They should look at the ideas of the French Communist Party in the 1970s or 80s, or even in some of Karl Marx's writings. What they think about mass immigration is that it's a way to dilute the working class, to push wages down, and actually a way to destroy the French nation. That is to say, mass immigration destroys the culture, destroys the French people, and we have no problem saying that we are against mass immigration. We don't act out of hatred for foreigners. We simply want to protect our people, culture, and country. It's out of love for our own, not out of hatred for others.
Honestly, there are a lot of people, right? What should we say? 200, 300 people, 400 people? It's always hard to say, but
It's unfortunate what happened to him. Beyond the political aspect, it's a father who was killed. So that's what's really sad. Honestly, it really hurt me, that man, truly. A man who showed a lot of love in his interviews, who was always seeking dialogue. Before the fight, that was always his way of thinking. And I discovered him 5 years ago, everything was in English. But it gave me great pleasure to hear this gentleman say, listen, prove me wrong, and then hand over the microphone. And I found that his way of thinking was so different from others who bring a certain violence to their dialogue, especially the far left. No, really. A gentleman with great values, a very humane man, very, very humane and all. It's truly a terrible loss to lose him. I think he was someone who could have contributed so much more if he could have been here. But I believe losing him also inspired many people to be outraged, to say that we can't accept this anymore, to realize that we've lost a man like Charlie. But maybe others will take his place, and that's a good thing. In all this misfortune, let's say, I hope things will change, that we won't have so many horrible things like these cold-blooded murders anymore. Whether it's for Charlie or for Irina, it's unfortunate, it's unfortunate. It's very sad to have to hide for sharing our ideas, even though we're simply telling the truth. We're not seeking a fight, we just want to speak the truth and encourage debate. By debating, we're not trying to fight, that's the principle of debate, we exchange opinions. If people don't agree, it's not a big deal. We grow together, we try to find solutions in peace and without fighting, that's the point of debating. It's crazy to end up going to such extremes.
so explain to me, because you're from an immigrant background, if I'm not mistaken.
So I grew up in France, but I actually came to France when I was 2.
All right. So you see, for an Antifa or someone who comes from the radical left, they would say, wait, that's not possible. You're a traitor. How can you?
Exactly. I grew up in France and fully embraced French culture, so I consider myself French. And actually, I think it's simply a privilege to have grown up in this country. The majority of immigrants actually don't realize how lucky they are, but I knew it and I fully embraced French culture, European culture, all of that. And I feel more French than anything else.
Here, people's speech. It's the minute of silence. So, people here, like Charlie Kirk or all those who are on the right, let's say, are for restricting immigration, are for border control. So what's your position on that?
I understand and agree with them. I believe this is an invasion, not military, but still an invasion. And sometimes it breaks my heart to see, let's say, to go to certain places, and I see that it's no longer the France that at least we learned about in school, the real France. Here, it looks like Kabul on one side and Afghanistan on the other. You know what I mean? For me, it's about defending their country, cause, and culture. They simply oppose foreign invaders, and I completely understand and support them. I even lost a lot of people I got along with just because I paid tribute to Charlie Kirk on social media, let's say, on September 11th. I was insulted in every way. They said, quote unquote, that they were genocidal, but I don't consider him genocidal. And as I said, no matter the losses, I'm proud to be among us. One of the few immigrants who is proudly and truly French.
Good evening, Vincent.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Can I testify off camera?
Without the camera? Sure, go ahead.
I was stabbed by an Algerian in order to leave France.
Ah, yes, indeed. So here I'm testifying that there is actually a large scar that goes from the bottom of the ear up to
the neck.
Up to the neck?
Yeah, it passes just centimeters from the jugular and carotid. Otherwise, I'd be dead.
You look a bit ethnic.
I'm Vietnamese and just arrived in Nice for my studies. I didn't know the city. I took the first apartment I found, which was in the train station neighborhood.
How long ago was that?
I stayed in Nice for 3 years, but I left that apartment after 2 months after what happened.
Yeah.
Very quickly, I realized that the neighborhood was sketchy. So I was careful at night. It's a neighborhood like all the train stations in France, and it's sketchy. I'm careful at night coming home, but not in the morning going to college. One morning I arrive at college, and I'm wearing a cross like this one, a Christian cross, a Christian one. And then there's an Algerian under a deportation order. Drunk, whatever you want, he comes up and stabs me, just like that, for nothing.
How did it happen? He was able to get close to you and stabbed you?
It was morning, and I was just going about my business, not really paying attention. I look up, and a guy is right in front of me, grabbing my temple, stares into my eyes, then stabs me, just like that. Actually, he really tried to kill me. Yeah, while ripping off my cross. We don't know if it was theft or anti-Christian, we're not sure. The guy was arrested in Nice, thanks to the cameras, tried and sentenced to 4 years in prison plus deportation. But for now, I'm left with a lifelong scar.
What I liked about this guy was that he was a guy who... Yes, the camera, yeah, sorry.
He often debated, especially on university campuses.
So it's really interesting to see a guy who's willing to debate where there are people who usually aren't willing to debate. So it's really interesting. And on top of that, he's an excellent punchliner, so I really like this guy, that's it.
So, in your opinion, he didn't deserve to be assassinated?
But actually, I'll even tell you that in reality, no one really deserves to be assassinated.
Even for my opponents or enemies, I wouldn't wish death on them. It's just part of my values.
But me, I don't wish death on anyone. Even if I don't agree with someone, I wouldn't go so far as to wish them dead.
You just had a close call with death there.
I had a close call with death, and that's it. And the worst part is, can you believe that after that, I was the victim of a real social boycott? I grew up in the Paris area among mostly left-wing, well-meaning people. And when I had the audacity, when I dared to speak out about what happened, to say that I almost died, it could happen to anyone. It's not normal for someone like that to still be here, since he'd been under a deportation order from France for a year. He was convicted 6 months earlier for kidnapping and violent burglary against elderly people in Nice, but a left-wing judge released him. 3 months later, he nearly kills me when we meet again. So after that, I got a bit outraged, I was really angry, and so, well, that's when I started to... And I didn't really speak out, but I had a Twitter account, and I was retweeting everyone. So I was retweeting you, I was retweeting Frontiers, CNews, Bardella, everyone, that's it. Some people from high school came after me, and that was really the beginning of the onslaught. They exposed me and called me every name: Nazi, fascist, extremist, Zionist, and Catholic, all at once. In the same sentence, they called me both a Zionist and a Nazi. I mean, you can see the level of these people, if you will. And so there you have it. I received threats, intimidation, everything you can imagine, and that's it.
And now, what about now?
Well, at that point I left. I spent a year abroad in the United States, so that allowed me to distance myself a bit. I'm here because I know this country well, and Charlie's situation affects me. I stayed away for a year, but now that I'm back in my hometown near Paris, I honestly fear for my safety. So because I dared to speak out, I almost ended up facing death, and that's it. That was the second time in 5 years. On November 13th at the César de France, the guys blew themselves up just 50 meters from me. It was a lot to handle. In 22 years, it's not. It's overwhelming. My daily life feels heavy, especially after being affected by leftist political correctness and the idea of coexistence for decades. And that, well, it falls on me, on me, and who else? It could happen to anyone, really. So that's it. Yeah, the situation was complicated, but we'll see how it can develop. But yeah, it was a lot, I think. Charlie's death is the last straw for me. I hope things change.
I'm acting as their advocate. You there, you have thoughts that, if in power, would drive French society toward evil, its darkest times, Hitler and Nazism. That's what they think. When they hit you, they believe they're stopping it early. By saying, well, it's as if, in a way, someone had attacked Hitler when he was 17. You see? He might have been stopped from becoming who he was. Well, that's kind of the idea.
I understand, but they believe they hold the absolute truth and goodness. To them, it's the good side, so any means are justified to win because they're afraid of us. They say to themselves, well, we've never been this close to power, which is true. Patriotic ideas, honestly, are gaining ground, and that's a good thing. For them, it's serious. They see it as the return of Hitler and so on. And so, any means are acceptable, including violence, to prevent us from coming to power and gaining ground. They don't realize they see themselves as champions of good democracy and free speech, but they categorically refuse to talk with us. They refuse to debate. And actually, when they realize they're losing ground, when they realize they're simply losing at the polls as the elections go on, they resort to violence immediately and don't understand how to debate. But all it really takes is to get involved in politics, to campaign on the ground, whether it's in the street or in universities or wherever. And actually, on the other side, they'll immediately call us all sorts of names, Nazis, fascists, and so on. And never actually engage in the battle of ideas, so never get to the substance and simply debate. They don't know how to do that, and they go straight to the simplest thing, violence. And in the end, what they don't realize is that they're playing against their own side. Because quite simply today, the French people and even the whole world can clearly see where the violence is coming from and which side, in the end, is the side of good and tolerance.
And does that work, for example, with the people around you? Yeah, does it work? When someone says, yeah, he's a fascist, are the people around you sensitive to that argument? Well, to that non-argument, actually.
No, not at all. At least in my circle, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't. It doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work. No. Except I have friends where we don't agree at all on a lot of topics, but we listen to each other, we talk, we debate. That's kind of like what Charlie Kirk used to do. And there's no problem. There's no problem at all. I'm not calling him a leftist, communist, Stalinist, and he's not calling me a fascist or Nazi. Because we listen to each other above all. That's what's important. When we debate, actually, we just need to listen to each other. That's all.
Here are the stars. Marguerite Stern. Why are the nemesists here?
We came to honor Charlie Kirk today, believing his assassination threatens the freedom of all right-wing influences. The left is becoming more aggressive. Have you seen the reactions on social media? Following the assassination, but it's absolutely shameful. We've received death threats ourselves.
You?
Yes, we have. Alice Cordier, yes. There was a YouTuber who did a Twitch live saying that Alice Cordier's forehead was perfect for taking a bullet. So that's it. That's the kind of thing we had. So for us, it was really important to be here today.
Alice Cordier is basically being directly threatened by the far left.
Oh yes, actually it's happened repeatedly, but it's true that I feel like now they're allowing themselves a certain freedom of expression. Anonymity has always made that easier, but now they feel like they're in a group, like there are many of them supporting this murder, and so it fires them up. So they threaten absolutely everyone.
And are you threatened?
I've already received threats, and now I get them regularly under my posts, even when just sharing something. Someone commented about tonight's tribute. Great, they'll all be in one place. Too bad if someone showed up with a gun.
Oh yeah?
Nice.
It's true that, indeed, Simone Veil said that from the moment you're a public speaker, your words become actions.
As far as we know, Charlie Kirk hasn't killed anyone. And if we were really in a situation like that, occupation, the Third Reich.
See, if it were a swastika instead of the French flag, I'd get it.
Yes, but they say they don't want to wait until there's a swastika. They want to act before there's a swastika. That's their argument. You need to respond.
I'm sorry, no, Charlie Kirk didn't. I'm not that villain. Charlie Kirk wasn't that villain. None of the people there were that villain.
And actually, in reality, when you listen...
Actually, that's not true. The premises are false because Charlie Kirk wasn't calling for anyone to be killed.
There is an authoritarian power, by the way, because at its core, humanism is an authoritarian power, a dictatorship.
It's not about talking or giving people a voice.
You see?
So the foundation is wrong?
Yes, the premises of the reasoning are wrong.
Look.
We just heard Akab.
Ajab. Oh yeah, there was some Akab. Okay.
And I did it for Charlie Hebdo.
Oh yeah?
Today, I'm bringing it out as a tribute.
The Charlie hat? Unfortunately, he had to bring it out again.
Hey, what a shame, but it's really a shame.
Fight! Go ahead, say it, say it. Fight, fight, fight. Go on, Vamos. You should never stop.
We are here in the presence of a journalist reporter who has been assaulted many times. We saw some crazy videos where you were chased by Antifas. With iron bars, they're the ones with the iron bars, not you, right?
No.
You only have your camera and your microphone.
The camera, which is a weapon?
Which is a weapon, that's true. It's a weapon.
And powerful, by the way.
Yep.
Much more powerful than an iron bar itself.
Exactly, yes. It can even bring down a government.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
But then you got convicted.
Yes, I got Antonin Bernanos a suspended sentence.
I believe it was about 22 or 23 days when I couldn't work.
And I recognized him, because in his eyes he told me, I'm going to kill you. That's what stuck with me.
Oh, really?
Hatred in his eyes. I'm going to kill you!
And when he had his run-in with the police officer during a protest, when he had hit him, people snitched.
The image of Antonin Bernanos, and when I saw his look, I said, that's my attacker.
He then launched a second major attack with a crowbar, resulting in 65 days of total incapacity to work under the yellow vests.
And an Antifa tried to hit me on the head with a crowbar, and it was my hand that took it all. So all the bones in my hand were fractured, 65 days of total incapacity to work in the hospital, then my face was completely swollen with bruises.
And the medics?
When they were treating me, there was some Antifa who said I shouldn't be treated, that I should be left to die, to rot on the pavement.
Because you're the fucking fascist?
Exactly, they call me a fucking chink fascist.
They also called me the dark-skinned one once, but mainly the chink fascist.
Unbelievable, it's unbelievable, it's unbelievable.
There you go.
What's unfortunate is that when I was attacked, none of the mainstream media took it seriously.
They said it was an isolated case.
And today we see that many journalists like Frontier and others like CNews are being attacked.
And I myself have already been attacked back in 2016, the biggest attack.
Even before that, I was among the first right-wing journalists attacked. You were too, right?
Yes, of course, we started together.
We began together, always in pairs. When you were attacked, I was attacked a few hours later too.
That's true.
When I was attacked, I heard in the media that Vincent Lapierre was also attacked.
Yes, that's true.
That's right, so they told others to attack.
Because we always show the right images.
But have you also received threats for what you do?
Yes, I've received threats, including death threats. I'm not going to lie.
Somewhat like Marguerite or the Nemesis Collective girls. As for me, they told me that I should get the same thing, so they said she should take a little trip to Utah too. So, yeah.
That's where he was murdered.
Exactly. For those who don't get the reference, it's just so I can get shot in the neck. It's to bring people down, whistleblowers like you, politicians, both men and women, journalists. Because today, being a journalist in the eyes of the left when you're on the right isn't being a journalist, it's being an activist. It's absolutely, yes, it's absolutely crazy.
How do you experience this daily?
Badly, honestly, I experience it very badly. Right now, it's very, very difficult. I think that since just before the holidays, I kind of had a bit of an overdose because of the fatigue, because the news is still very, very hard to watch. And then you're in it too. We're in all of this every day, so it's very hard to disconnect. And I feel even worse when I see that we're hated, but above all, that people would actually rejoice in our death. In the end, that's what would happen if someone like Damien Rieu, Marguerite, or even you got shot in the neck.
People may call him LGBT transphobic, but I haven't seen that and am open to evidence.
A video where Charlie Kirk literally says outright, we need to kill trans people, we need to kill homosexuals.
I haven't seen any, but I can show you a video of Charlie Kirk taking someone down on camera in front of everyone.
A highly conservative, bigoted Christian activist who believes homosexuals should be excluded from the Conservative Party.
Actually, about transphobia, he was just saying that. Maybe it's not a good idea to give puberty blockers or perform surgery on children who haven't even finished puberty yet, actually, children who are minors.
Honestly, I share that opinion.
From the moment you're an adult, at least of legal age, you do whatever you want with your life.
Saying that isn't a death-worthy offense.
And in any case, it doesn't deserve it. Yeah, that's it. In any case, it doesn't deserve death.
I think violence should never be used as a first resort.
Only use as a last resort for self-defense, never to attack.
And in this case, it wasn't self-defense, it was an assassination, it was murder.
The killer wasn't a victim. He wasn't someone who was being attacked.
He felt attacked.
Yes, but how can I put it, if you want? After a while, we're really getting into the psychological aspect of the person. Because after a while, when you have your feet on the ground a little, when you get a sense of things, if you want, the notion of reality. If someone says something you dislike in a video, just stop or skip it. You wouldn't go kill them.
Because you don't agree with him?
We had talked on Instagram.
We'll wrap up now, so be good. In conclusion, what can we say?
There's really a need for the movement started by Charlie Kirk to really take root deep within France. For all of France to rise up and for all the French people. Denounce what the left is doing. And above all, that they really don't hesitate to debate no matter what, with anyone, without violence or hatred. Just debate different points of view.
This won't be the conclusion, but you'll still be mentioned in the report.
Thank you.
No matter your ideas, no matter your political opinions, you can't support, you can't condone, whether you're on the left or the right, the assassination, the cold-blooded murder of a man who just came to debate and give people a voice.
I saw a quote from Kierkegaard on the bus on my way here.
The tyrant dies and his rule is over, the martyr dies and his rule begins. About a week ago, the martyr Charlie Kirk's reign began, I think.
We hope this ends the tyranny and doesn't escalate further. The escalation is what scares me.
I hope it stops here.
There are only two genders, male and female, and everything else is just assumptions and nonsense.
And you, have you ever thought about quitting?
Yes, of course, we talk about it often.
I read that on social media, I read it.
I no longer call myself left-wing because I don't want to be linked to those people.
So what is it then, Patriots diversity?
If our voice bothers you, it deserves to be heard even more. You were Charlie yesterday. Are you still Charlie today?